You have won! Game started. forgot to plug in the microphone. I totally forgot to plug in the microphone. So I definitely forgot to plug in the microphone, unfortunately. So sorry about that. What I was saying is I probably am not going to review this particular game because there's too many elementary mistakes in here. If you are at this level, you do actually need to read a couple of books on how to actually play Go, like at least how to set up. And I was saying like there's a reason why you try to play the bottoms. There's actually a reason why you play the bottom, play like the sides and the corners before the middle. The middle is a getting territory in the middle is kind of a complex endeavor. It really is. Um, Getting territory in the middle is a very, very complex endeavor. And it takes, like quite a bit of like skill and tactics to actually get middle territory, whereas it's much easier to surround the bottom and the sides. This particular game I'm not going to review. I'm just going to, yeah. This particular game I'm basically just going to play. And because like if you don't actually know the fundamentals of Go, like these my reviews don't really help. If you don't know the fundamental way to play Go, like there are some basic concepts in here that the reason I start more or less like playing at 12Q is like at 12Q you more or less know like some very fundamental basics of Go, and you're trying to develop like maybe a couple of more advanced strategies. Um, like this move doesn't make any sense. Like I am just gonna take this, and your stone's just kind of dead down there. Like this move, you can't live here anyways. So I'm just gonna go ahead and do this. You're giving me free moves around the board, and generally, like I prefer to play people that already have like I prefer to play people that already kind of have like a rank set. Um, because if you are a total beginner, like playing these games against me doesn't really help all that much. So after this game, I definitely will play another game. After this game, I definitely will play another game. I will actually accept. I don't know if this ladder works or not. No, it doesn't. Um, I'll definitely accept any challenge. I'll definitely accept challenges after this. So I'm just gonna ignore this because there's actually no. There is something that yeah, I do. So if you play this and then extend out and then Tari, no, actually it doesn't really matter. I guess. See if you Atari this, I take this. You extend here, I do this. Yeah, you're still one behind, so that's no problem. Um, yeah, there's like I will actually accept another game after this, at least one more. I actually have a little bit of time tonight. Um, See, this just results in this Atari, so this doesn't really do anything. So I'm actually not very good at teaching total beginners. That's why I don't really go below 12Q. It's hard for me to explain like the fundamental concepts of like certain types of play. My dad taught me from the very beginning, so he would be much better at doing those things. But like my thing is mostly helping. My thing is mostly helping like DDKs get to that. Uh, DDKs get to the SDK level and then get to the DAN level. Like that's my basic. Actually, I probably should have extended. No, I guess in this case doesn't really matter. Um, my main thing is helping the DDKs get to like the SDK level, or helping the SDKs to get to the DAN level. Like if you can't see, thing is if you can't see simple ladders like this, um, and why this doesn't work, then playing me isn't going to help.
Challenge received.
I will probably accept that. I will accept that challenge right after this game finishes. So if you can wait a while until this game finishes, I will actually accept that game. Because the person I'm playing is probably below 20Q in rank, and at that point, you need to actually like read some basic Go books. Um, yeah, if you're at this rank, you definitely need to read some basic Go books. And you and like the whole concept of how to actually accept territory. By the way, I only play one game at once because I don't. It's not that I don't like. I get confused if I play like 2 or 3 games at once. Live, like if it's live, I can. Like live wise, I can, but like online, I really can't play like several games at once. Switching between browsers like really confuses people, and it's not very good for teaching. Yeah, introducing beginners to the game is always like a tough task for me. So I'm gonna play this, but generally, like if you're black in this situation, you would actually just Atari here force me to. Yeah, that's the wrong way. Atari here force me to take and then double Tiger's Mouth. This obviously doesn't do anything. These moves are generally bad, like forcing me out on one side. Don't do stuff like this until you absolutely have to. I guess I can take a couple of elements of this game. I guess I can take a few elements of this game to get some teaching, but there's not a lot of teaching value here because a lot of these things are extremely basic. A lot of these things are extremely basic, and it's going to be like a lot of these things are very very basic, and you do need to like listen. Like the thing is here, what I would actually suggest is there's a pretty good channel called NYIG Go, New York Institute of Go, and they actually produce like some basic lessons on Go. See, I'm actually doing this and just not taking this because he can't make two eyes down here anyways. So essentially, like, you might be able to, but I doubt it. And plus, I'm just getting outer influence. So once I come out here, like all these are pretty much dead. And if he does this, this is always Sente. So essentially, like, there's very little way to actually for any of this to be alive, and this isn't alive either. I'm just gonna ignore that and make sure this is dead. Um, I don't actually need to do this. No, if he goes here, there might be some trouble, so I'm just gonna do that. By doing this, I basically secure that all this is dead. So there's no point to that. I'm just gonna eat this. Okay. Whatever. I have 2 liberties here and here, so I can just go across and kill him. Um, Actually, no, I did that wrong. I should have like eaten this way. I definitely should have eaten this way. But it doesn't matter at this point. Yeah, that's another channel I would actually recommend. NYIG channel. That's New York Institute of Go. It's headed by two pros. It's like a pro couple. I think the girl is like a Chinese professional one dan, and the guy's like a the girl's like a Chinese profession pro one dan, and the guy is like a I think he's like a professional three dan. So um, that's actually a really good channel to check out. It's a really good channel to check out. Okay, so I can do this and just let him live in here, but there's no point in doing that, so I'm just gonna do this. That's you would definitely extend out this way. This is still dead. So um, there is no ko here if he does this because I can just go this way. So in something like this, there's not see like there's not that much. Well, I'm just gonna go up this way. Even if he comes out here, I take this. I can get all this bottom territory. A lot of Go is about making trades. Like a lot of Go is actually about making trades. Like which territory is worth the most to you. And for me, like, I mean, obviously if he does this, he's just dead. But even if he jumps out here, I can like take this and then like maybe take the middle. So it's really about like parsing like which piece of territory is the most valuable to me. Something like this, I'm just gonna seal this, and then this is dead too. So hello.
Pass. Remove the dead stones. You have won.
Yeah, I'm not really gonna review this game because there's too many just like game-breaking mistakes from early on. At this level, if you're like below at the 20 to 30K level, you really do need to read a couple of beginning Go books or look at NYDI or go to some like beginner Go channels to actually get a basic concept of the game. Like what I see from this person is like they know the basic rules of the game, like 2i gets you alive, but they don't really know too much else about the game. And because of that, like I can't really review it all that much. So
Game
I said
started.
I would actually accept this challenge, and I'm good to my word. I will accept this challenge. I'm gonna go with a 3-4. I'm more familiar with a 4-4, but the corner invasion's been pissing me off lately. So I'm gonna go with the 3-4. It doesn't actually bother me that much because I can work with the influence on the outside, but I'm trying to strengthen my 3-4 game. This has become pretty popular. I definitely prefer the knight's move down, but that's actually become pretty popular. I feel like you have to take this if he doesn't do that, and then you can just kind of leave this alone and jump this way. I feel like this is just a. I don't actually think this is such a breaking move, but at the same time, that's fine. I don't think that's such a breaking move, but the thing is, at the same time, at the same time, like, I feel like it feels really good to do this. I think that's a wrong. I'm pretty sure that's wrong. I don't think you should Hane that. Oh wait, did I? I might have made a mistake there too.
Challenge received.
I'm playing right now. I've just began a game, so I cannot accept a challenge right now. I only play one game at once, because like I'm trying to explain how these games work. I am definitely trying to explain how these games work when I'm doing this as well. So I don't play more than one game. I don't want to do this because I don't want to force him out that way. So I'm just going to do this right now. This, however, I'm just going to go ahead and do. Yeah, I figured he'd do that. Do this first. I am very tempted just to seal the outside, and that's actually probably what I should do, honestly. Seal the outside, let him live down here, but I'm just going to connect. This is actually pretty dangerous for me. This is actually quite dangerous for me to do. He's technically dead, but I'm not that strong. And he does actually have a lot of liberties. But as long as I kill this, realistically, as long as I kill that, I win. So it doesn't really matter, I guess. The sequencing down here is important because if I just connected this and he went here, he would be alive. So like when you're attacking a group, you have to play things in the right sequence. If you don't play things in the right sequence, it generally doesn't work. I'm going to have to hide this user. Go as different stages. The first three is mark corners. Yeah, you don't actually, the thing is like, yeah, I'm just going to mod someone because this is like ridiculous. Some of the stuff he does, that's fine. I'm actually going to do this because that's technically Sente. And if I do this, I'm basically alive. So, well, I can just Hane here. I'm going to actually do that. Well, I guess I'm not basically alive, but it's hard for him to deal with me right now. There are a couple of moves he can play here, and we'll kind of explore them when I actually go back and review this game. Because there are a couple of technicalities that he can actually do to maybe kind of try to live, sort of maybe. But he is in a really tough situation here. Yeah, these like crappy bots are actually making life hard for me, not just on this channel, but on my other channels as well. There is one particular thing he might be able to do here. I don't know if it would actually work right now. I think he might be one liberty short because this one's not filled yet. Yeah, that was the move I was thinking about. But there actually might be a pretty good counter move to this. And I actually think there is. See, I have two liberties blank here, so I'm going to try this. This actually might fail, and I might lose this game, but I don't think so. I think this will work. I do think this will actually work. Yeah, he's a couple of liberties short. As you can see, like because these two aren't filled, I can just brute force my way down. If these two were filled, it wouldn't actually work. So I guess that wouldn't work all along. Here you would most definitely just do this because like you don't want to Atari and then have him do this. And here I would definitely just you actually don't have to answer here because he only has two liberties and there's really not much he can do. So I'm actually going to do this and force him out. If he goes here, you just take the 5 stones. And then if he goes one more out, I'm just going to ignore him for the most part.
You have won.
All right, so let me actually go back. This is a very short game. I will play another one. You guys can go. I'll just take the first challenge right now, but after I finish reviewing this short game, because I do feel like I actually do feel like
Challenge received.
I do actually feel like this move is actually critical, but I guess like you can pretty much do this as well. I do feel like this move is a shape breaker, so I will always make this move. And generally, that forces him to actually connect. Now, there is also this move right here, because I'm generally not going to let you do this. So there's no way I'm going to do that. And even if I come up, you can do this. And it puts you in a little bit of a better position. It would grant me this move though. So, and then like you might be able to do the dual attack. This is going to turn into a fight, but still, you do have, instead of connecting, sometimes you do have the option to do this. The connection's not really that bad. I jump up, you do this. I feel like when I jump up, I would actually, if I was black, I would probably just jump. Doing this is the other option, but here this is not bad. Yeah, that's actually not bad. I am going to do this. Actually, the thing is, I could definitely just do this, or maybe even do this, but I don't really like this. So that's why I didn't do that. I could just go here as well. And maybe trade something like this. Because you don't have a good way to attack my 2 stones. Not really. And this is like good territory for me. So I guess I could do that. But I decided to go here instead. I'm going to do that, obviously. That, I mean, so if you're going to do that, you should actually consider just doing this. That's not, and then I would probably do something like this. That's not bad for black at all, because you would get Sente and do something like this. That's actually not bad for black at all. You get the outside influence, you get some of the corner, yeah, I get some of the side, and I get a little bit of territory down here, but there's a lot of thickness for black here. So the thing is, like, once I Hane, that's generally not a good move. I might actually just do that. I mean, white could do this, but then again, I can't really seal this off, so I would have to do this. And obviously, like, I don't really like that either. So I would probably not do that. So I would probably just either do this. I would either do that. I would either do this or, and then go somewhere like here and then do this. This isn't bad for black. I think I like this better for white. I obviously like this better for white, but it's not horrible for black by any. It's not really bad for black, in my opinion. So kind of like that. I feel like if you Hane, you kind of have to do that. Like, I'm not going to do this because this is not alive, because this group isn't alive, and I can't really seal in your group that well. Even if you do this and I do that, I mean, I like the fight of liberties. I don't really know how this comes out. I think black is going to be ahead, even in the fight of liberties. I do think black is actually going to be ahead here. And if I connect that, like, you can just come out here as well. So this doesn't end up well for white. So I wouldn't do something like this. So I feel like here, if I was black, I would definitely cut. I would most definitely cut here. And I would just kind of like, I would honestly just kind of like play this out. Maybe you have to do this, but remember, like, for each point I'm getting down here, you're getting influence up here. So I probably don't want to extend too much. I might want to extend to try to get the Sente. I don't know if this is Sente or not. Yeah, it probably is. If I don't go here, if I just like go here, you extend down. I think it is probably Sente. Yeah, it's Sente, but I mean, it's a really bad Sente for me. It's like that. So, I mean, like I said, it's not horrible. It's not horrible for black. So yeah, I would cut. I would honestly cut if white did that. And the thing is, like, none of these things really guarantee me much at all. I would have to try to shut in. And then instead of doing this first, I would do this first. I mean, if you do this, like, I think white's pretty much always going to do this and connect here. But in this case, I actually think black has way more liberty. So in this case, black would actually win this fight. So I really can't do something like that. So that's a big mistake. You do need to cut there. Letting me connect here and then coming out here. This is actually okay. I probably should have just jumped or something. Coming out here and then doing that's definitely wrong. That's definitely a mistake. And then of course I'm going to seal in. So when I do this, it's just telling you to take the stone. And then there's a really complex sequence over here. So if I do this, there's this problem. So I can't actually do that. So when I do this, it's definitely telling you to take the stone. Because after you take this stone, I still have to, like, cover. So that's one mistake. That's actually one mistake that I made. It's actually one mistake that I made that I shouldn't have made, because taking the stone is actually Sente for you. and your group's actually alive. So by not taking the stone, you've essentially, yeah, you've essentially like kind of screwed yourself here. Here, this connect is going to be a lot better. This connect and then this push. This push sequence is going to be much stronger. So that's actually eventually what it looks like. I'm of course going to seal the outside. So it is better for white, but your group doesn't die. So the correct move here is, because I have a lot of cutting points. Like, there are several cutting point options. If you do this and I connect and you can't seal my group in, you're basically dead. And because of a lot of other things, like this group is very, very hard to seal in. This group is incredibly hard to seal in. I mean, you'd basically be dead right there. Like, you'd be dead in the water right there. So this group is very hard to seal in. And if you can't seal this group in, then your group is basically dead. So if you've read that you can't seal this group in, you don't want to cut here. Cutting here, and then like even doing something like this puts me in a lot of trouble, because then you can actually cut here as well. And, you know, like if you extend this out, I would have to keep extending out, and then you have like the option of extending out here as well. Like, extending out here obviously isn't great for you, and giving up a lot over here, but it wouldn't result in your group dying. So even if you didn't see this, even if you didn't see like this particular move, the option is definitely to like cut here and not the other way around. And like the thing is, you can still do something like this here, and this would be a lot more successful than what he later did. I mean, this wouldn't work because I would do something like this, but it's much harder to read than that one right there. So remember, this move I would have to connect, and then you would actually take this particular move. So that's kind of like the last chance he actually had. So there is that game review. So if anyone else wants to challenge me, I am willing to take challenges at this point. Why not h6 instead of h5? H6, h5. So the thing about h6 is, yes, I can do h6, but I actually don't want him to play g7, because forcing him to go out this way personally, I don't think forcing him to go out this way actually favors me. That's probably not the right move, but I don't think forcing him out this way favors me.
Challenge received.
There's nothing I can actually do about this. If I do this, he just comes out this way. So to me, like, you could do this, but to me, like, there's a lot of problems down here. So I don't actually want him to, I don't actually really want him to, like, force him to go out here. All right, I'm going to accept this challenge.
Game started.
So here we go. Here's another game. This is probably the last one I'm going to play tonight. It's a kind of a fun game. Yeah, so that's just an interesting fight. There's a lot of, like, you know, in a fight like that, like, sequencing is very important. Like, which move you do first, which move you do afterward. If you play the wrong sequence, I am actually going to play it a different way as well. And if I play it a different way, it probably won't come out as well for you. I do believe the usual approach is actually from this corner. I can go here, but I don't actually like that play. So I am going to get the corner, go into the corner. I am willing to trade on this corner for that side, because that's kind of a strange pincer, I think. Yeah, it's like the only option you really have here as black. Did I do 15 minutes? Okay, 15 minutes, that's fine. 15's just as good as 10. I'm just going to go ahead and do this. I tend to play just the normal Josekis. A lot more than any like stranger moves. Normal Josekis actually do get me a lot of territory. And I'm going to play this. I think that's kind of a competitive spot right now. I don't know if actually that's the best spot. Not gonna, just gonna kind of ignore that. I don't know what's the best place to invade. I'm gonna guess it's not that. But I'm actually not that great on these invasions. I definitely am not. I don't think that's the right move for him. I think like answering me out here is going to be more important for him. Like answering me out here is definitely going to be more important for him. Oh wait, that's not the right move for me. Whoops. That's not good. That is not good. That works. Okay. I think this works for me. If this doesn't work and this ladder fails, then I lose. If this ladder succeeds, I think it succeeds for me. That's a huge loss for him. It's a massive, massive loss. You can't, like, these two stones are like such a huge loss because it not only destroys your entire territory over here, it also destroys your entire moyo. So those two stones, you cannot give up those two stones. Those two stones are like stones you just really, really can't give up. Here, I'm just going to take some territory. I don't think that's the right move, by the way, but I'm just going to take the bottom territory and see what he does with the top moyo. You do have to remember that there's you do have to remember that this isn't really clean yet, and neither is the corner territory for him. That's not the right move. Letting me do that is pretty damaging. Letting me do that is actually quite damaging. I'm going to go ahead and do this. Because that's going to be Sente for me, I believe. Okay, that's fine. Like, leaving this thing in the corner open here is just not a good idea for him either. There's other things I can do with this, definitely. Definitely a lot of other things I can do here. And you'll see, like, you'll see why this is, like, so important in a while. It's very important to jump out. He might be eyeing, like, this Moyo territory, but it's really hard to actually get that Moyo territory. And he's going to have to give up a lot in order to get it. Shoulder hit C5 earlier. C15. It doesn't, I mean, if you C15, I would probably C14 anyways. So here's the thing, like, there's a couple of things in here that he actually needs to be aware of. There's a few things in here that he definitely needs to be aware of. I don't know if that's actually the best move or not. I think this would probably be a better move for me, but you know, I'm going to see like how this corner works out. Definitely going to see how this corner works out because this is actually Sente for me now. I'm actually just going to hit here. And he actually has a lot of problems in here. I can take the Ko in here. That is one thing I can do. I can also do this. Or do this. That's just a bad move. Letting me consolidate, that's not a good idea. Bro, like, this move's still Sente for me. From bottom corner as of what? I always get stumped not knowing how to follow up from that result. Which bottom corner? Bottom left corner? This corner? Okay, I'm going to just seal off the top right now. He's actually alive, but I'm going to go ahead and seal off the top. I mean, there's not... In terms of like this follow-up, this is pretty much complete. There is still Aji here, I think. Like if he plays like C16 or something, I think there is still Aji there. Maybe? I think there probably is, yeah. Like if you're talking about this particular corner, like once like there's Aji here in general. There's a lot of Aji here in general if you're talking about this particular corner. So we go ahead and live for right now. That's probably not the best move, but I'm gonna go ahead and do it because I'm just gonna go ahead and live right now. I'm not going to screw around with this too much. This is a big win for me. This group is also fairly weak. So this is a big win for me. No. Okay, I'm going to do this first and threaten to kill this group. Because if he doesn't answer that, I basically Atari, and this group's still not alive, by the ways. So I am going to do this and cut this group off. Bottom left, trying G5. G5. Oh, you mean this group here? You mean this thing here, G5? It kind of depends. I mean, there's always E4, and you're trying to force him to connect. So E4, you're essentially trying to force him to actually connect. If he doesn't connect, he goes up here. There possibly could be stuff down here later. G5 wouldn't be bad. That's a pretty typical break. So over here, yeah, like E4 is something that I would do, but he would probably follow up with F4. Then you'd probably follow up with F5, and I'm not exactly sure how that turns out. Like just directly playing F5 wouldn't be too bad either. You also have this forcing move right here in H3. That's actually not good because I can just do this. And if he doesn't answer, then the bottom group's dead. Remember, like my group here is alive, so I'm not really afraid. So you're taking advantage of the two weak groups that he actually has right now. Oh wait, there's a Sente way to fix that. But the Sente way to fix that actually helps me, so I don't mind. Yeah, the Sente way to actually fix that does actually help me, so I don't mind as much. Oh, whoops. There is a Sente way to fix that. Yeah, so this, yeah, like, E4 does give some trouble later, because then you might have the double cut. But yeah, G5 or F5 would actually be okay too. But the problem like with this thing right now is like if you try to get the middle's kind of empty right now. Unless you get like a Sente for it, you're not going to get too much points. Because the thing is, if you do that and I just kind of like take these points down here, and I just like kind of take some points down here, you might not actually end up getting that much. Because I can just play like, let's say I can just play like J12 or something. Or even just like shoulder hit you on, or just hit you over here on like J13 to reduce this territory. The amount of territory, unless you get a lot more stones over here, and because he let me take these two over here, the amount of territory you can get in the middle is pretty limited. Yeah, oh, for white, F5. For white, it'd definitely be F5. I'm going to go ahead and let him get a little bit more moyo over here. Then I'm going to do this first. Okay, so you have to realize that either this down here or this over here is going to be... Yeah, now I'm going to do this. The purpose of this here is to actually have him answer, and then basically if he comes up this way now, I'm just going to connect. So the whole purpose of that was the whole purpose of this was getting an answering move here, so I can kill this group down here. And regardless of how much territory he gets here, he's not going to be able to get enough to compensate the loss here and here. So I've told this several times before. You do have to remember that the purpose of Go is actually not to have it so your opponent doesn't have any territory. It's just the purpose of Go is just to get more territory than your opponent. It doesn't actually much matter how much territory your opponent has as long as you have more. So that's the only goal in Go, to get more territory than your opponent. It doesn't matter how much you win by. So technically, if he gets a lot of points, it doesn't matter as long as you have more. So here at this point, this group is dead, right? So if I was black, I would play things like this to get Senteis to build up my moyo here. But that would actually require you to lose this group as well. And essentially at this point, I don't think there's a way he can win, but he can see how close he can get. Yeah, running this is, I'm okay with him running this. Because if he actually runs this, this is generally always Sente for me, well, it's not really Sente, but, it's not really Sente, but I guess it's okay. And the thing is, if he Hanes, I can just cut right here. Although if he Hanes here, I would probably... Yeah, I'm just going to do this. And while he runs, he's going to he's actually going to invite me to destroy his moyo here. So that's kind of the plan right now. That's definitely the plan right now. As he runs, he's going to invite me to destroy the moyo. And that's basically his last source of territory. If I play the reason I'm not playing P6 as a Sente is because it's not Sente. If I play P6, he can just play O4, and I would have to answer. So that's Gote for me. I'm not going to play that.
You have won.
All right, that is the last game I'm going to play for tonight. So let me explain. This might look like Sente. This might actually look like Sente. This might look like Sente, but it's not, because he would just play here. I would have to answer, and then he could just ignore me. Because, if I take it, he can just connect. So that's actually not Sente. Because this stone isn't really all that important. Not at this point. So the reason I'm chasing this way is I don't really care if he does this, because that's basically inviting me to break his moyo over here. And if he actually lets me break his moyo over here, then the game is over. The biggest extent of this territory is here. And then if you do this, I'm basically just going to do things like this. And essentially, I'm basically just going to do things like this. And essentially just break whatever territory I can from you. And then solidify my own territory. And I promise you that, I promise you, if you actually count points, right now, White would be way ahead. So that's why I'm not really afraid of this. And if he does this, well, I'm just going to, happily break more of his territory. The thing is, after losing this group, there's essentially no way he can have enough territory. I mean, he could, and this group is more or less alive. Because if he does this, I'm going to do this. He has to do this. I would just go out. And then he's just going to disconnect himself. So that group is this group is essentially alive because he has no way to kill it at this point. And there's just no way he's going to get enough territory right now. So let's actually go back and review this game, because this is a start that I personally don't like for white all that much. That's fine. I'm pretty sure I should invade over here instead. That's definitely a better move. I don't like people making big moyos, which is why I invaded over here, but I'm pretty sure this is better. He does that, which is... I feel like if you pincer, you should do this or do this. One of those two. This is just kind of like a weird in-between pincer. It's fine. It's not like a huge mistake, but yeah. So this is fine. Playing that, I'm not going to respond. Like a lot of times white would respond here, but there's just bigger moves. Like if I do this, this is kind of like black's move, and it kind of blocks me off over here. It's pretty good. But realistically, I'm not going to respond here because there's bigger moves. I'm going to take that Sente here. He does that. I'm going to go ahead and do the Joseki. I was thinking about pincering as well, but I didn't really want him to put more stones over here. So that's fine. And then I do believe that this is probably a mistake by the AI's choice. And if I was black, I would just go ahead and do something like this to form my territory over here, because this isn't very solid. There's a lot, like, it's... I mean, I could do something like this, but then there's still a lot of invasions in here. So if I was black, I would just ignore this and do something like this to solidify my own like black's territory. So he does this. That's okay. But it does leave me the Sente. I probably should have done this first, but I'm going to go ahead and invade, which is fine. You know, the thing is, like, you kind of have to answer this. I would guess you would either pincer this, which would force me to jump, and then you just jump this way. Or you would just take under and then, you know, like, do something like this. I feel like this is okay too. Like, I think a lot of people see this as, oh, he broke your, like, you know, he broke your moyo. But the thing is, like, with a moyo this open, you're not going to get all the territory anyways. It's just like, how much can you get out of it? I feel like getting this much out of it, like getting this territory here, plus this territory in the corner here, because this jump makes this a lot more solid. And that you have, like, the knight's move down here. I feel like this is totally worth it for black. I definitely feel like this is totally worth it for black to play this way. So he does that. I feel like that's a bad move. Yeah, this is, you definitely have to answer this way. Answering any other way doesn't really work. So answering this way is a big loss of points. I definitely got dumb, and I definitely should have just done this immediately. This is bad by me. This is really bad by me. Obviously, I'm going to do this, and you have to connect this. You 100%, you cannot allow me to take these two stones. And because I have this stone here, the ladder actually works. So he's going to play this, and I'm going to immediately play this. You have to connect this, and I'm going to take this. So because I have that stone here, this ladder actually, I did actually calculate this out. This ladder does actually work. As you can see, this ladder works. So he loses those two stones. Now, that's like, this is the this is the major turning point of this game. This is absolutely the turning point of this game. Because after these two stones, like, your corner is no longer solid here. Your moyo's been completely broken, and my group is actually very, very strong here. Plus, I disrupted a lot of your territory. So it accomplishes a lot of things at once. So he does this. I'm going to take it, obviously. And then he's going to do this. Now, I understand he's trying to make this territory, but this territory is kind of blank. And it's very hard to formulate this territory. So I'm going to go ahead and fly down. I'm going to go ahead and fly down because this is huge. This is worth at least, I would say, 10, 15 points. And like I said, like, if you don't answer, I have ways to make even more points down here before you can solidify this. So doing that, you're forgetting that I still have this stone here. And since I don't have to make sure that this ladder works anymore, I have a lot of freedom on what to do. So I'm just going to do this, get this stone out. I guess you could do, I mean, like, but if you do this and I do this, like, you see, like, there's just not that much territory here. The center territory is very, very hard to make. So that's a really bad move because it gives me a straight up block. Honestly, I probably should have just connected. This is solid. It's generally bigger. But I was trying to go for the Sente. That's generally a bad move. That's okay. I'm going to do that. Do that, and then I'm going to jump up. If you don't like move over here, I can just break this Moyo over here. And then like I think white just has more territory right now. He does that. But the problem with this move is there's not much territory to be gained up here. I honestly could just do something like this and get this territory. It'd still kind of be Sente for me. But I know for a fact that because this is here, this isn't very solid. So I'm going to go ahead and do this. But there's also invasions like, you have to remember, there's also, because I have this here, there's also invasions like here. I don't know if this, I don't think this would actually work all that well right now though, is the problem. So, or you could even like invade here, but then he could do stuff. He could do that, but then like white can come here and then do this, right? I don't know if this would actually work or not. Yeah, it probably wouldn't. But black's actually not very strong in this area. So I know like if I know there's invasions here. So he does that. I'm going to attach here. He's going to do that. I'm going to do that. I feel like a lot of people just like don't want to do this move and trade this. But A, you can take the Ko if you want to. And B, there's a lot of crap for me to connect here. Like that could be an acceptable result. It's not a great result, but remember, this is Sente. So that could actually be an acceptable result for black, because you still get the corner. I do get this, but you can disrupt my territory here as well. So that might actually be an acceptable result. And if you really want to, you can act, when I do this, you can actually just play the Ko. And you can do that, but I mean that would be a worse result for you though. So there is you can actually choose to play the Ko. I wouldn't because it's way too heavy for black, but you can actually choose to play the Ko. So I feel like I might have just done this. I really might have just done this at this point. And just kind of traded with him. Like, I mean, he's not going to do this because like this is just going to get him into a ton of trouble. This is actually going to get him into a lot of trouble. I mean, like there's that. So the go under doesn't actually work because this actually exists. So yeah, I feel like almost I would have just taken that option at this point, because you know that if I actually break out here, your two groups are going to be separated and you're going to be in a lot of trouble. So I do that. I was looking at like what if he does this. This would be very interesting. This would actually be kind of interesting. So white does win this, so he can't actually do that. So white does actually win that one. So I guess he doesn't have that option. But that's just generally a very bad move. That's generally a very, very bad move because it solidifies this. Now you can't seal me in. See, that just went from like plus 12.5 to plus 25.3. So now you can't seal me in. And like I'm definitely going to do this first because doing this means like this isn't alive. And this isn't quite alive, but it's kind of alive. He's going to do that. That probably isn't a good move because I can probably just block him and kill this group. And that's what I should have done. I'm going to do this. He's going to do that. I'm going to just go ahead and take this. Just like this isn't the best move because I think this is actually, I'm pretty sure this is actually dead if I just like go here or something. I'm pretty sure that's actually just dead. But I basically just take this to basically make sure that I'm alive. And when he does this, I'm going to do this first. He should have done this because even if he did this, even if I do this, he can just go here and live. So you got to think of these things like if you do this and I do this, that's a fake eye and you only have one eye. But if you do this and this is a fake eye, then you still have two eyes. So that's why you should do that one instead of the other. So I'm going to do this first. He's going to do that. And of course, this is just a typical cut. He's going to do that. I'm going to do that. And the reason when he did this, why I didn't do this right away is because I don't want him to do this. I don't quite want him to do this. I'm pretty sure I might be okay, but I didn't want him to do that. So when he does this, I'm just going to do that. Sente here. Do that, and then I'm going to do this first. The purpose of this move isn't actually to kill this group. I mean, I probably can. I probably can, all in all. But the purpose of this group is like to get Sente so I can kill this group. Now if he does this, like, I really don't care because this group is already alive and this group is already out. So basically, like, once I do that, this group is completely dead now. So that's why I actually did this move. Like, it serves two purposes. It, like, if he actually fixes this, I Hane here and this group is dead. But if he does this, then this group is dead down here. So he has to choose between the two groups. I'm just going to go ahead and kill it. And that's basically where the game ends. So those are the mistakes he made. Letting me take the 2 stones here was the big mistake, and a wrong mistake in the corner invasion. So that's the games for today. Like and subscribe, hit that bell notifications button. Thank you, and have a nice day.